Now, waiting I dey hear about Mazi Nnamdi Kalu. If you are not currently updated, this video that is about to play now is the latest, because Mazi Nnamdi Kalu's lawyer have come out to release certain information, and what he said, if not that this thing or this word came out from his mouth, I wouldn't have believed it. Currently, his barrister have come out on Arise TV News to release a lot of information, and what he said have even shocked millions of Nigerians. To stay updated, I would like you to listen to this video and also share it so that other Nigerians out there can still listen to waiting at the here and stay updated.
We have joining us in the studio lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, Barrister Aloy Ejibako. He joins us now. Thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us. Help us make sense of this. We understand your client, Nnamdi Kanu, is accusing DSS, first, violation of court order, and then, of course, access to his lawyer, based on the fact that he might have access to medical care and all of that. The second thing is also to begin trial. But the argument the DSS is putting forward is that there is no case in this, and that because the former judge who was presiding over the matter, Binta Nyako, withdrew from the case. So that's the argument the DSS is putting forward, and they are saying there is no case in this particular development. What's your reaction to this?
Well, we disagree. It's the legal opinion is based on the wrong premise that the recusal of Justice Binta Nyako invalidated all the orders she issued in the case. We disagree with that. As a matter of fact, the private counsel to the Office of the Attorney General took prompt steps to file a process in court advancing this argument, seeking a nullification or maybe a blessing of the court to nullify all the orders issued by Justice Binta. In the case, just by virtue of the recusal, we filed a counter process, arguing in the opposite. And we disagree with this totally, because if you indeed, all these orders are null and void by virtue of the recusal, it is also the same Justice Binta Nyako who issued the order of remand that led to the detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So, as a matter of fact, our counter-argument can be used as a sword and shield. So, if the court was going to grant their application to invalidate all these orders, it would naturally lead to the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because the same order, the same judge issued the order of detention. So that order should have been invalidated. So, but our position is that the DSA should not be allowed, or the federal government should not be allowed to cherry pick the orders to obey and the ones not to obey. So evidently, they want to comply with the order of detention by continuing to detain Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but they now don't want to comply anymore with the order on the visitation regimen for counsels to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is the crux of the matter.
All right. The counter, you filed it counter,
process.
Yes. How is the court reacting to that? How is the court responding? What is the process to listen to what you've already filed?
Well, because of the significant merit of the counter argument we filed, on the next adjourned date for the hearing of the case at the Court of Appeal, their counsel rose in court and withdrew their application. That tells us that they no longer maintain that position. So now that DSS, subsequent to that, refused us access to Nnamdi Kanu, we started wondering if it's a case of left hand not knowing what right hand is doing. Because we did advance the information to the DSS and said, listen, the application or the legal position upon which you are placing rescissions on counsel to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has changed or has been withdrawn by your counsel. But they continue. So that left us with no option than to pursue some kind of judicial action to get DSS to comply. So I proceeded to court to file what is called a Form 49. A Form 49 is a process by which you compel a defaulter, a contemnor, or somebody who is breaching a court order or not obeying or complying. You use that process to to compare compliance. That's what happens, and that's how this whole thing came to this pass.
I know that the court also has gone as far as threatening the DSS Director General Adeola Ajayi. So what impact would that have on this case, and how does that make you feel?
Well, I do believe that it already has an impact, because I did get some feelers. I'm fully aware of the intervention of on Obi Agocha and the Honorable Speaker as well, Tajuddin Abbas. They intervened politically on this matter and tried to resolve it by way of compromise. So I had access to informal information that DSS has, retraced its steps. Is now willing to do the right thing, so that I should bring the process a letter submitting names of the councils that will visit Nnamdi Kanu on Monday. So I have done that. So on Monday we are going to go there, and I'm hoping that the restrictions will be lifted. If they are lifted, fine. We go and interface with our client as the court ordered. If they are not lifted, then the process in court shall continue to its logical conclusion.
Okay, looking ahead now, what's your next step should DSS continue to, refuse access to his legal team? What's the next step? What are you going to do next if they continue, this particular, practice of refusing Nnamdi Kanu access to his legal team, or maybe medical care, for instance?
Well, what is on board now is the access to him. Yeah. He's entitled to have access to his counsel under Section 36 of the Nigerian Constitution.
That's right.
Nobody is supposed to mess with that. And then this one, too, was supported by a court order. You have someone in detention where he's not even supposed to be. He's not supposed to be detained at the DSS in the first place. DSS is a glorified holding cell. He's supposed to be detained in prison, where these restrictions normally do not institutionally occur. DSS is a security environment with restrictions built in place that they take for granted. But these restrictions don't augur well for detainees. So we don't want to break their back or to compel them to change their system overnight just because of our client. But if you insist on detaining him at that place, that location, where he's not supposed to be detained, then you have to make certain adjustments. If you don't, you are going to get in trouble with the court that issued the order.
All right. Just before I let you go, Barrister, speak to us. There are narratives out there that the reason why we're still having the issue of insecurity in the Southeast is because Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention. Confirm to me, is that true? Will the release of Nnamdi Kanu address the issue of insecurity in the Southeast, particularly we talk about the unknown gunmen and all of that? Is there any link? Okay.
He said it himself in open court. Recently when he addressed the press after the court session, he said it himself. He has that confidence. He possesses that confidence, and the aura. He has the aura, and he has the followership, and the clout, and the influence to change the tide of things in the Southeast.
But would that be misinterpreted as, being the foundation for insecurity? Because if he said it himself, that until he's released, before security or peace can return to Southeast, isn't that a kind of indictment or his own part?
No, it's not. It's not. You see, nature abhors a vacuum. There was insecurity in the Southeast before this time around, before his rendition. There was. Maybe you had kidnappings, robberies, what have you. But you see, the rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and his continued detention, have altogether fueled a new regime of some people who latched onto that to cause mayhem. So when you refuse, it has become a constant factor for good, bad, and ugly. He meant for good, but people latched on. Bad people are latching on to that. I have seen situations where some gunmen were arrested and they say, well, we are doing it for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He never sanctioned any such thing. He headed a non-violent, informed and headed a non-violent organization. And he remained committed to that until when he was rendition. So people can go there, out there, and try to do unlawful things based on that, either out of mischief or maybe they believe in what they are doing. But when you remove the constant factor, which is his continued detention, tell me whether anybody will have further excuse to commit any mayhem or to engage in any act of insecurity. No, it wouldn't be. It doesn't mean that Nnamdi Kanu's disciples are the ones responsible for the insecurity. That is far from the truth, because he himself has condemned it openly in court and made the distinction between a genuine agitator for referendum for Biafra and someone who is using it as a stepping stone or an excuse to commit criminality. He made that demarcation very clear.
All right. I think we just have to leave it there. Hopefully your prayers to the court will be granted. Thank you so much, Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.